Hello and welcome to Wake Up Cricket powered by Pavilion Picks. And on your screens, you can already see Praatibh and Aswin waving, saying hello because there's so much to discuss today. They can't wait to get started. There is India's Under 19 World Cup win and the Seniors T20 World Cup that is about to commence. So let's get started with the headlines. With your permission, guys. So now, obviously, we are starting with the big news as far as Indian squad is concerned because Harshit Rana has been ruled out of T20 World Cup. Siraj called up as replacement. India all-rounder Harshit Rana has been ruled out of the T20 World Cup 2026 after sustaining a knee injury during the warm-up match against South Africa in Navi Mumbai on Wednesday. Mohammed Siraj has been brought into the squad as his replacement. Siraj last played a T20I for India in July 2024. He has played only 16 T20Is, in which he has picked up 14 wickets with an economy rate of 7.79, but has played plenty of IPL, so has a lot of IPL experience under his belt. In all, he has featured in 160 T20 games, picking up 183 wickets with an economy rate of 8.25.
Now, I might be sleepy as hell, but waking up in the morning and I feel like half of the country would be in joy looking at Harshit Rana being injured because for whatever reason, half of the country just dislikes him. But he did pretty well in the T20 format. He's done well in the ODI format, picking up a lot of wickets. But Mohammed Siraj as a replacement is just very interesting. Since the impact player rule in the IPL, he's had an economy of more than 9, which is not even his worst because his worst was the year before the impact player rule. We had an economy of more than 10. Interestingly enough, the best IPL season he had was year before that, where he had an economy of more than around 7.
Yeah.
So he's had a mixed bag in the IPL. He hasn't played international cricket for 2 years in the T20 format and can't bat, if you were to be very, very honest.
Well, true.
Yeah.
It's definitely not like for like
Yeah.
replacement.
So Harshit Rana being injured, half of the country might be happy with it, but half of the country might also be quite sad looking at Mohammed Siraj coming into the squad.
I think it's really interesting, even from a squad balance perspective, because as it is, Harshit Rana, very unlikely for him to be featuring in that
That
playing
is
11,
true,
right?
yeah.
Especially because we've got packed all-rounders. That squad is packed.
Yes.
So for Siraj to come in, I think it's not going to make as much of a difference unless we're going to lose someone from the playing 11. Arshdeep and Bumrah very likely are going to be starting.
That's the hope.
So that is the hope.
Yeah.
They've won 17 out of 19 games that they've
That is
played
true.
together in T20. So
Yeah.
it'll be really sad if that doesn't happen. But yeah, that's mostly it. I mean, it's not that much of an issue. And the only thoughts we'd have on India being able to botch up their T20 World Cup is through this medium, which is injuries.
Yeah, that is true.
So yeah. that's
And
what it is.
for those of you guys, Mohammed Siraj has played the Syed Mustaq Ali this year. He
That's
played
true.
4 matches, picking up 7 wickets
Hmm.
with an economy of around 5.8.
True.
So not the worst, but
By any means.
is it the? I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Fine. Economy of 5.8 is not too bad. So let's just get over it.
But certainly not like for like because hit the deck versus swing bowler predominantly.
True.
Now, something to cheer up for those who need a bit of cheering today. India versus England under 19 final. India win the under 19 World Cup. India 411 for 9 beat England 311 all out, winning by 100 runs. Vaibhav Suryavanshi gave the latest demonstration of his prodigious talent with a record-breaking innings in Harare as India completed a dominant run at the Under 19 World Cup, swatting aside England's challenge to lift the trophy for the 6th time. Suryavanshi, the 14-year-old opener, showcased his full range of scoring in a knock of 175 of just 80 balls to almost single-handedly extinguish England's hopes after India had opted to bat. When he was third out, India were 251 for 3 in the 26th over and hypothetically on track to score 500. Despite an explosive knock from Falconer, who got 115 of 67, England kept losing wickets in an attempt to keep the scoreboard ticking and eventually fizzled out, folding for 311. 311, that's pretty impressive as well, but
Yeah, that
100
is
runs to feed.
Yeah, and it's been one heck of an under 19 World Cup.
That is true.
India has clearly dominated the setup, but especially the final, the man, in fact, the boy for the moment,
Yeah.
Vaibhav Suryavanshi. let's just take a moment to take this in, right? He's hit 15 fours and 15 sixes in a knock of 175. That's just 25 runs of running between the wickets, and that's 150 runs in just boundaries. To give you a little bit of context, when I was 14, I scored 155, but that definitely didn't have 150 runs in boundaries, and that was my only century.
I like how you talked about your own century.
And I did that at the club level. But Vaibhav Suryavanshi, for him to be doing this at the under 19 level, it's bonkers, because there was a point in that match where India's projected score was 650.
That's true.
They were going hell for leather, and it's crazy because you can also see such a huge gap between him and the other batters, where the others, when the ball is short, they're probably just trying to guide it to third man.
Playing
And-
textbook cricket.
Exactly, textbook cricket. Nothing wrong with that at all. But here's Suryavanshi, who
Yeah.
just opens his stance and is pulling the ball straight for a six. How do you explain that, dude?
Yeah, and it's so funny because until now, so today you'll see a lot of reels defending Vaibhav Suryavanshi and stuff, because heading into the World Cup, there was a lot of criticism about him not being able to play those
Yeah.
big games and not being able to score against big teams. Well, he did all of that in this World Cup. I mean, semi-finals was against Afghanistan, but it's a semi-final game. And then in the final, he scores a massive 100 against England in the final to possibly, to now win the World Cup. But at that time, possibly win the World Cup. But it almost seemed like that knock was enough. Like after the first innings, you already knew that India is possibly going to win. And it's probably because of this innings. It's just unreal stuff from a 15-year-old.
He's not even 15.
Yeah,
March.
it's apps. I didn't even have. Him talking about a century. I didn't even have a century by I was 15.
Well,
It took me a couple of years.
But Pratik found a way to let us know he has scored a century. Meanwhile, RCB do a triple. RCB chased down record total as Delhi Capitals stare at fourth straight finals defeat. Georgia Wall and Smriti Mandhana masterminded the highest ever chase in WPL history to guide Royal Challengers Bangalore to their second title, denying Delhi Capitals for the fourth time in a final. The match went down to the wire with RCB losing 3 wickets in just 14 balls towards the end. With 8 needed of 4 balls, Radha Yadav hit 2 consecutive boundaries of N. Sri Charani to complete a thrilling chase. Mandhana and Wall came together at 9 for 1 in RCB's chase of 204 and put on 165 of just 92 balls. It was the highest ever partnership for any wicket in the WPL.
RCB being 9 for 1 in the final, you would expect a 70 all out. And honestly, that's what I expected. For Georgia Wall and Smriti Mandhana to do what they did is bonkers, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Smriti Mandhana heading into this IPL, we made a lot of videos talking about Smriti Mandhana's strike rotation, Smriti Mandhana's strike rate. And there was a lot of problems with that. Now, but if you look at the season overall, but especially the final, and if you break the final down into a lot of different phases, 5 overs period, you will realize the Smriti Mandhana's strike rate at no point is less than 200. Less than 200. That's insane. Which means in every 5 over period during that T20 innings, she's had a strike rate of more than 200 all the time.
That's crazy domination. And also, when you think of this particular firstly, spare a thought for Delhi Capitals.
Yeah, that's true.
Because this
Spare
is
a
their
thought. 4 years.
straight final, and they
Yeah.
just find a way to lose. And it's very interesting because Vadodara, the stadium where they were playing the final, at least through this leg, it's been a pitch
Yeah.
where it's not been easy to score runs. And so in the first innings, you thought, okay, Delhi's finally got enough.
Yeah.
Jemmy as well as Laura Boulevard absolutely rotating strike very well, and then
Mhm.
pacing their innings beautifully, understanding the pitch,
Yep.
getting to 200. That's huge in a final.
Yeah.
And still from there, RCB 9 for 1, for them to come out and do that. And this has also been one season where Smriti Mandhana, her overall game has also improved a lot,
Yes.
because something that's been a criticism for her is that she's not been able to live up to the standard of the WPL or her own batting standards
True.
more than anything. But this time around, the biggest change, especially in the absence of Elise Perry, for RCB and for Smriti Mandhana, the way they've batted,
Yeah.
Smriti Mandhana in particular, her power play numbers might have gone down slightly in terms of strike rate, but even her dismissals in the power play have gone down.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that is something that's been a huge revelation, because she's been able to carry her bat through those first 6 overs and show that she's getting into the middle overs. And you have Grace Harris, you have Georgia Wall, you have all these batters coming in, and with the ball, the likes of Lauren Bell, bowling so many dots.
My
She's
God.
probably created a forest right about now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think very interesting, because this isn't even the best RCB side in terms of their selections
Yeah.
or the kind of form they were in overall. So it's freaky how good they can be.
Yeah, and yet they went on to win. So there's something about them and the squad and maybe the coach.
Moving on, a captain's mindset is what we're going to be talking about. As Salman Agha says, I've learned how to put captaincy away when I go to bat. Leading this renaissance has been Agha, who took over the side in March. His career stats of 856 runs at a strike rate of 122.45 in 45 T20Is aren't too impressive, but the 32-year-old has found a rich vein of form for himself since November. It is an admittedly small sample size, but following scores of 1-0, 1 unbeaten to start the Tri Series, Agha has struck 258 runs, around 30% of his T20I career runs, at a strike rate of 170.86. I used to go in batting as a captain, but now I'm not. I'm just going in as a batter to just go and express myself and enjoy the game. So I think I've learned how to put that captaincy away when I go out to bat, and it certainly changed my technique as well. But I think mostly it's the mindset.
Take this opportunity to tell them how many runs you've scored as a captain.
Well, to be fair, I'll have to pull up my Word document to find
Of
that
course.
record from back in the day, because we didn't have any other ways to record ourselves. But it's very interesting coming from Salman Ali Agha, because going into this tournament, Pakistan has been a very up and down team. They've played the most number of T20s for any side since that 2024 World Cup. So they've played 47 games, they've won 27, but they've also lost 20. So it's been so up and down for them. And it's also got to do with the fact that they've just not been able to keep up with the pace of T20 cricket. The kind of evolution that we're seeing across teams, especially even some of the associate nations, are just going bonkers right from the get-go. We saw close games even in these warm-up matches.
True.
Where USA is getting 200 against a good side. So things like this are important to keep in mind, which is where I think someone to watch out for in this tournament might be Salman Ali Agha. In the current form, he's striking at 170. But can he replicate that come the subcontinent pitches is something to keep in mind. Thoughts?
And can he replicate that under pressure in a World Cup as a
True.
captain? Because
That's
it's much easier objectively to not be in a World Cup situation, to just play a bilateral series and to be able to do this, to learn and grow. But then come the World Cup, especially, I mean, not in India because they play in Sri Lanka, but come the World Cup, yeah, there's a lot of pressure because you as a captain want to do well, you as a team want to do well, but you as an individual batter also want to do well. Also because you're Pakistan's captain. And so the next thing you know, after the World Cup, you're no more the captain, regardless of how many runs you score, because your team hasn't really done well. So there's just so much more pressure. Yeah, just I feel for him is what I'll say, with the amount of pressure he's walking in. Also because of all the drama that's going on.
True.
Yeah, if they don't do well, I don't see him being the captain, just because of how Pakistan's functioned in the last couple of years.
That's all we have to say.
Yeah.
Now, because you gave me a cue on drama, there's been enough drama around this because we're talking about Bangladesh's backyard trophy. BCB announces 3-team T20 league to be played during the T20 World Cup. BCB has launched a T20 tournament called the Odomo Bangladesh T20 Cup, which begins on February 5. The 3-team competition will feature all of the country's top cricketers who are missing the T20 World Cup. Liton Das, Nazmul Hussain Shanto, and Akbar Ali will lead the Dhoomketu 11, Darbar 11, and Duronto 11, respectively, with all the teams playing each other once in the round robin phase. The top two teams will face off in the finals on February 9th. All the matches will be played at the Shere Bangla National Stadium in Dhaka. BCB have also introduced the impact player rule for the tournament, a first for an official match in Bangladesh. A member of the starting 11 can be swapped out at any point in the match for a 12th player chosen from the roster of options announced at the toss.
This has to be one of the most sassiest decisions to be ever taken in international cricket.
That's
to not
right.
only decide not to go to a World Cup and then to decide to have your own tournament. We had an analogy of, you know, how when you were in school and then when you weren't allowed to go to an inter-school tournament, but the school to compensate would make an inter-house tournament. And it's just disappointed because, like, what's the point? It's just top cricketers who aren't going to the World Cup as if they have a choice. Like, they have to stay in the country.
Yeah.
They have no choice. So might as well play another tournament.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that they've now decided that they want to
Yeah,
try the impact
impact
player
player
rule in
rule,
this tournament, which
Yeah. Passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Passive aggressive at its finest.
like, hey BCCI, we like this rule that you have,
Yeah.
but we don't like you. So this is how we're going to go about it. But
Yep.
spare a thought also for the players themselves, because these are players who have been preparing for
Yeah.
that World Cup. Like everything you do is sort of setting up to that particular tournament. However, they may say it, they may all say it as we take it one day at a time or one game at a time. But the ultimate goal is to be able to go out and play that World Cup. So, in a way, it's a little sad also that these people, after doing everything, after having a spot in the World Cup itself, are not able to play it. So, that's something to keep in mind. And they're going to be playing this T20 league. Who knows what's going to come out of it? But this is also along the lines of what some people had to say, where if Pakistan and even Bangladesh, or Bangladesh and Pakistan in this case, move away from world cricket in some sense, is it going to help them in the long run because they'll be able to have more domestic games?
True.
And just strengthen and restructure that entire domestic system is something worth thinking about.
Well, pros and cons. Talking about pros and cons, there's a impact that's been made on someone's face. Let's just say that.
Enough on impact player rule. On to impact now, as England Test captain suffers black eye and bruising while watching net session. Now, Ben Stokes sustained the injuries while standing at the side of a net session as an 18-year-old keeper batter, Robbie Bowman, was batting. Stokesy said he broke the number one rule of being a coach in the nets: never turn your back on the batter. Durham head coach Ryan Campbell told the Sun newspaper. By chance, our medical team were already at the ground during simulations. Suddenly, they had a real emergency to deal with. Robbie hit the ball hard, players shouted out a warning, but Stokesy ended up turning his head towards the ball. Scotty Borthwick, his great mate, drove him to the hospital, and our physio went as well.
For starters, now
Yeah.
before we get into the injury itself,
Hmm.
I think one of the reasons he put that story out is because he just had to make sure no one thought it's because of alcohol. Because of the history that he has, and now the England team in the last couple of months,
Yeah.
if any media house saw him walking like this in public, alcohol, that would have been it. That
Or
would
you
have been
punched in-
shambles.
You were punched in a brawl and you ended up on the losing side,
Yeah,
which is not great because they've lost enough as it is.
that's
But-
true.
But yeah, it's first of all, hats off to the 18-year-old for smacking it so hard. That's really nice. And
It's insane.
Stokesy is right. That's the number one rule. That's the first thing you learn when you're going to the cricket nets, which is
Yeah.
do not turn your back on the batters rather. Ouch, that's got to hurt for sure.
That's really got to hurt. It's the fact that it's got his eyes, nose, cheeks. I have, to be honest, in the last 25, 15 years of just being around cricket, and it's not once have I gotten hit.
Yeah, because we follow the rules.
Yeah.
But what's the worst injury that you've seen at training? Need
I've-
not be yours. Just
I
to know.
have seen a batter hit it back straight to the bowler. Let's just say the bowler is a male and the bowler missed it and it hit a part where you wouldn't want to be hit.
the unmentionables.
Yeah.
The worst one I've seen is we were having trials and one of the fast bowlers did not warm up. He was running into bowl and there was just a sound of a snap. He's not released the ball or anything. And he's just dislocated his hip or something of that sort. Like you could hear the snap, like, and gone. So, yeah, cricket is a dangerous sport, but that's why we love it.
Yeah, that is true. But I'll come back to the first thought I had when I saw that story without context was that I thought alcohol brawl, he's very happy about it. He's beaten someone up again. Not that he would usually, but it's just thought I had because of what's happened in the past. I'm not saying he's the kind of guy. I'm not saying anything. Just past might just tell you how the present is, maybe. But yes, that has been the 6 biggest news stories for the day. If you guys aren't subscribed already or don't follow the accounts on Facebook and Instagram, you have to do it because this is what we do with Meghan Sinha and both of us. We do it every single day at 8 a.m. We'll do it this weekend, but after that, we'll do it from Monday to Friday. Every single day, 8 a.m. 6 big stories coming your way, powered by Pavilion Picks. We're called Wake Up Cricket. Like I
So
said,
you
subscribe.
better wake up for us.
That is true. So subscribe to us, follow us, and yeah, see you guys tomorrow.